It's the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul, the podcast about stories in business and in life with your hosts Ed Fox and Paul Odendahl. G'day viewers and listeners, and Paul is in rare form today. We have another great episode of the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul. High energy today. I can feel it already through Zoom. High energy. And our special guest, Chad Miles with My Unlimited, is it My Unlimited WP or My Unlimited WordPress?
The WP stands for WordPress, but it is My Unlimited WP.
Okay, My Unlimited WP. Well, Chad, thank you for being on the show today, and I'm sorry. I want to get that out there to start with. So
thank you guys for having me.
Wait a minute. You're apologizing in the beginning of our show. Wait a minute. Chad,
apologize for us in the
Chad, all we need to know is, are you with the Patient's Bill of Rights? Do you know anything? No, let's get away from this patient. Let's not go.
Are we talking HIPAA laws?
Oh yeah, we got a lot to talk about. All right. So usually I interrupt Ed. Imagine that. So normally Ed will ask me, why in the world did you ask Chad to come on the show? Good question, Ed.
I did ask him that before you got on the show, and he's like, I don't remember.
I was still stuck on the Patient's Bill of Rights. But if you want to go over the Patient's Bill of Rights,
we don't.
Or if you want to talk about Gavin Newsom, or if you want to talk about all right, let's cut.
So you know how hospitals don't like stuff being talked about in the press? Did you hear that they just changed out all their pillows?
Uh-oh.
They did. They changed out all their pillows to corduroy pillows. They're hoping that that'll help them make the right kind of headlines.
I didn't know we were going to pull dad jokes this early. I got 5 minutes.
Oh, this show is all about that. Where's your cup?
I just took it out to wash it because I actually used it.
How many days does it take? Look at this.
I do have
this. Lions Club.
I am an underdogger. I always root for the underdog.
All right. What's the matter with you losers? Here's the cup right here. Here's the cup.
I'm waiting for mine. I'll send you
Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul. All right. So let's get back to being serious, which is impossible.
Awesome. Chad, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Because wait a minute, I'm interrupting again.
I'll elevator pitch you.
I can't wait. Seriously, Ed, you can't wait. The conversation Chad and I had, the reason I wanted him to come on, it's not because of what he does. It's because of who he is and the culture of where he's at with, Chad, forgive me. What's your partner's name there?
Joseph,
Joseph.
Our CEO. Yep.
Yeah, with Joseph. But go ahead, Ed. Run the show, my friend.
Go ahead, Chad.
He's not going to let you run the show.
No, he never does. That's okay.
So, real quick, who cares about the company, right? As Paul said, no, I'm joking. Our company actually does revolve around the reason why I love my job is because we are actually a software as a service that helps people alleviate a lot of headaches, a lot of the nonsense that you don't need to know about when you're trying to run a business, So aside from that, our company culture is very faith-driven. We care about people. We care about creating relationships first. And if somebody asks me what I sell, I don't sell anything. We sell nothing. We'll sell you peace of mind, but it's not really a sell. It is creating that relationship, which is why Alignable has just been such a blessing for our company. And then running into people like you and Paul has just really made it an affirmation of we're not the only ones out there trying to bring back the handshake. Right. What happened? I was raised I'm third generation entrepreneur. I work really well with people, just not for them. And I was raised on the handshake. I would watch my grandfather sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves, and she would invite him to her son's wedding because that relationship was created, that trust was created, that eye-to-eye contact. And, that's something that we're trying to put in our marketing plan is hashtag bring back the handshake. There needs to be we need to get back to basics. We need to be delighting and engaging our customers, and showing them why we care, instead of just trying to make a dollar and pick a pocket, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think about that. I think about the verse when was it the Pharisees that tried to get Jesus, catch him out and say, well, which is the most important commandments, right? And he says, love God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself, right? And I think a lot of times we have trouble. We can say, oh, the first one's easy to do, but love the neighbor as ourself. I think one of the biggest challenges is a lot of us don't like ourselves. We don't love ourselves. If we can't love ourselves, how can we love our neighbor, right?
You're not kidding. Yep.
You know, and so I think bringing back the handshake is great. We have to get people to love themselves, understand that we all have sinned and fallen short, right? Understand that, yeah, okay, we've made some mistakes. Are we trying to do better? Yeah, we are. So how about you give yourself a little bit of love, and then love your neighbor that maybe you don't like that his dog barks or whatever. And then I think the handshake becomes easier to do. My biggest concern, and I am very a trusting individual. I've given somebody $100,000 that I didn't have to invest in something that I thought would work on a handshake. Jury's still out whether that was a good decision or a bad decision, right? I get told every week it was a good decision, but I haven't seen the money. So we'll see whether that was a good decision or not. But I'm married to the most wonderful wife in the world, and she's trusting us. She's trusting me that I made the right decision. But even if it's the wrong decision, I don't care. I love being able to do it on a handshake. And there's a million people out there listening to this, obviously. You know, my mom, my sister, my aunt, you know, but they're out there listening to this and they're going, you're an idiot. Yes, this is proven fact. I am an idiot, right? It doesn't matter. But I love where you're going with that. And I love what your company does too. You know, you talked a little bit about it before we got on and started recording, but the fact that you guys give peace of mind to people that have websites. How many times have we gone there and looked at all the people that are in the company, and you're like, well, that person doesn't work there anymore, and that person doesn't work there, and that person doesn't have a headshot, and this one doesn't have a bio. It's not being kept up, right? Yep. And you guys provide back-end service for that as well.
Unlimited. Yep. Unlimited on a monthly basis. You know, we have some higher end packages for your e-commerce. You know, if you have a big catalog, obviously those will be a lot of changes and stuff. But for the basic standard WordPress website, it's $49 a month. It's kind of a no-brainer. Right. I mean, you know, how much do we spend on insurance for our house and our car and our motorcycle and our boat? Thousands and thousands of dollars a month on insurance. But the one thing that helps you create that revenue, your website, why wouldn't you spend $49 a month for that same kind of insurance? And that's what we really give.
And this will be a great place to go into, Paul, because Paul has just been dealing with insurance. We talked about that before we started recording the last episode. Okay, so that's the plug for the company. I love what you guys do. And for the price, it makes sense that virtually any size business could be working with you. So we're going to have that contact details, but we're not going to talk a lot about the company today. What I'd like to get into, Paul, unless you have an opinion on this.
I'm never allowed to say anything on this show. I'm never allowed to speak. I don't know what the problem is with you. Oh, yeah, I have something to say.
Okay, go for it.
First of all, did you notice, for our audience that knows me well, we have 5 people that watch. I've got 2 friends too.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Did you notice that my whole demeanor and my blood pressure has lowered since Chad has come here? So that's a good thing. Folks, and
just,
speaking about
increased our audience. I'm interrupting you now. We just increased our audience by almost 100%. Okay.
There you go. And he's speaking of a handshake. Did you know, Mr. History person over there? Well, I know this may not be similar in Australia, but did you know in this country, the handshake comes before the Patient's Bill of Rights? So don't get me going about the Patient's Bill of Rights again. But it used to be in this country a handshake. Patient's Bill of Rights will be another episode. But I digress.
That was written in blood. A handshake was blood, especially
if somebody
witnessed that. There's no way to contest that back in the day.
Right.
And how we got away from that, well, let me just say lawyers and nonsense, and lawyers rule the earth now.
There goes all our sponsors, Chad. Thanks a lot,
Sorry.
buddy.
I didn't say they were bad. They just rule the world. And,
Yes.
you
And they
know,
become presidents. I think like the most of the presidents have been lawyers.
I think that's the path, right?
Yep, that's what I hear. Anyway, so I mean, on the little bit of history I studied, it's funny. I had a guy tell me this is a couple of years ago now, but we're at a dinner party, and the ignorance level of humans is amazing to me. And I can say I'm ignorant on a lot of things, right? Ignorant isn't a negative word; it can be a negative word, but I can be ignorant on stuff too. But this guy tried to tell me that Albert Einstein was from Australia. Albert Einstein.
What did he watch the movie Young Einstein from the 80s and take it as fact? That must have.
Now, he was reading his World Book Encyclopedia, and he was sure it said Albert Einstein was from Australia. Well, if you look at the word Austria,
There's no L in Austria. I was going to say.
no L in Austria, but if you put an L in it,
there you have it.
True. We got way off track. Way off
anyway,
track.
no. But the point is, people are ignorant about a lot of different things. And so one of the things on this show is Paul likes to show how ignorant I am, and I like to show that he's very smart.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, and Australia was a penal colony. For all those out there that didn't know.
I got in trouble for that word the other day. I was in a Dollar Tree. By the way, if you really love going to Dollar Tree, does that make it idolatry?
No, and it's not everything $1 anymore. They had to raise the prices.
See, we have.
It's $1.25.
And you're talking about ignorance. See how sharp our guest is.
I know.
$1.25.
So I'm going through the line in Dollar Tree, and this lady says to me, she says, "Oh, where are you from?" I says, Southern
Michigan. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm a real Southerner. I'm from the deep South, and I live in Nashville now, right? 30 years in Kansas, 3 years in Nashville. And she says, "From the deep South?" She said, I said, "Southern Hemisphere." She goes,
"So this thing's called an equator."
Right. I said, I learned how to say "G'day, y'all" by moving north. And she goes,
I was going to say 30 years, and that didn't get rid of your accent or meld it into something.
I watch Crocodile Dundee once a month, right? And Paul helps me out with some good jokes about Australia and stuff. You know what you get if you cross an elephant and a kangaroo? Giant potholes all over Australia. He sent me the book that had that joke in. Thank you very much, Paul. Paul, books and cups and different things show up on the other day. This showed up on my doorstep. Paul's a big Simons fan. He has a nonprofit called Simons for Seniors.
Oh, wait a minute. There he is.
So, I love it. So big Star Wars fans. And so I think you actually sent that one to Alice, didn't you? Or did you send it to me? You sent it to Alice.
No, I sent that one to you. That's right. Okay. Alice has that little.
Alice has the little one. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I said, she goes, "Oh, you're from Australia?" I said, "Yes, guilty as charged." She goes, "Why do you say that?" I said, "That's the line we say in Australia because Australia is a penal colony." She's like, "You can't say that." I'm like, "Well, but it's true." And I knew where she was going, but I said it again. And she's like, she's an African-American lady, but she turns bright red. I said, "Yeah, it's a penal colony." And the guy behind me said, "Ma'am, a penal colony means a colony of convicts. And it was a convict colony. Therefore, it's called a penal colony." She goes, "Oh, I thought he was saying something else."
My blood pressure was doing better. What does any of this have to do with the Patient's Bill of Rights? What is any...
So does it have to do with being patient with ignorance? Maybe.
Good point.
There you go. Okay, so Chad, what is one of the biggest challenges that you're dealing with right now? Life, the universe, everything. Doesn't have to be business, but if it can be business related, that's great too.
Or Paul.
Our biggest issues right now, and I hope Zuckerberg's listening to this or falls upon it. Meta is our biggest pain in the butt right now. What to do with my social media clients? Because remember, I'm a marketing director, so I also have clients under our umbrella. I'm not just the marketing director for My Unlimited. So with our clients, we had to diversify all of their ad spends out of Meta because there was no traction. Why am I going to spend hundreds of dollars for one like? No, there's no traction, nothing's happening there. There's no ROI for Meta anymore, really, that you can put your hands around like you used to be able to 4 or 5 years ago. So it's like, all right, let's go back to putting our money into Google, because that we know actually works and there's systems in place. I feel like people are just literally giving money away to Meta to do that. So,
and are these guys local companies, or are they dealing on a national level?
Some of both.
Okay.
Some of both. Yeah.
You know what I've really been impressed with lately is Nextdoor. I don't know.
I keep hearing that, and I think I really I need to move a lot of my more local clients into a Nextdoor. Angie's List was pretty good for a minute, then they screwed up, and then they got bought out, and then they're actually doing a decent book of business now, but I feel like their ROI is a little spotty as well.
So what would you tell a small business? Let's say it's a painting company or a lawn care company or some sort of like home services business, plumber, electrician. What would you tell somebody like that? Just a couple of good tips for them to market via social media. What would you do?
Well, the first thing I would say is you need to go.
If we're gonna interrupt and we're gonna use Nextdoor, then what I would tell, oh, wait a minute, you were asking chat. What I would tell the company is don't leave your garbage down at the end of the driveway, because Nextdoor here where I am in the Hudson Valley in New York, the big use of it is to give us bear alerts, because we have a lot of bears that run around here. So every time it pops up on my screen, it's about a bear alert.
Did you hear about
small businesses don't leave garbage at the end of your driveway?
That's a good idea. Did you hear about the bear that walked into the pub and he goes up to the bartender and he says, "Can I order a beer?" And the bartender says, "Sure, but why the big pause?" He says, "I don't know. I was just born that way." Okay, Chad. So what would you recommend? What would you recommend with no pause there? What would you recommend with for a small business that maybe is looking to get an edge, but they don't know which way is up, right? Because my dad used to say 50% of your advertising works and 50% doesn't. The joke is we don't know which is which.
Right. For small businesses, grassroots is the way to go. It does take longer, but your traction will last longer. So if you're building an ad campaign or even a grassroots campaign on that handshake, on going out and meeting people, and putting your face out there, that is a really great way. When you have a limited advertising budget, I've seen a lot of companies fail because they think that they can't do it. They think they have to throw 20 grand a month at a problem, and that really is not the case. It just means you have to work a heck of a lot harder. So what I would suggest a lot of smaller businesses do is, depending on your vertical, go where the conversation is.
For people that don't know what a vertical is, please explain that.
It's funny because I actually posted in Alignable, and that post is getting a ridiculous amount of traction. And I asked people if they could only have one social media platform in their vertical, right? And everybody's answering, and they've got their answers. And I have an answer I would love to share with you if we've got enough time at the end. But and then I had 5 people go, "What is a vertical? What is a vertical? What is a vertical?" And then somebody answered what a vertical is. So it's funny, like, as much as I love humans and I want to get to know them, I know that I'm not going to be spending my time properly. Maybe in a webinar would be a great time to discuss what a vertical is. But when I'm trying to build relationships with people who are on the same level of understanding of marketing and business, it's funny that I have to just skip by the people that don't know what a vertical is. But Alignable is great because you always have somebody informational that wants to help, and they answered what a vertical is. So a vertical basically is if your business is particularly marketing for law, which vertical is it? Is it IP? Is it family practice? Is it, is it real estate? So that vertical would be what you
The
specialize in
industry that you serve, that's your vertical.
the most. Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So in lawn care, it might be consumer, or it might be residential, or it might be commercial. Insurance might be residential, commercial, health, life. So
Correct.
those are your verticals. So for me, I'm in the barter business, so I'm serving, it's B2B. But my vertical is I can only have like 2 of each different vertical, but I need 1,000 different verticals to make a good barter exchange, right?
Correct.
But I only
Yep.
have 2
Same
of
with
each.
the marketing industry too. Somebody asked me what my vertical is, and it's like any client that has a checkbook that is willing to listen to a professional and wants to create an ROI off of their marketing plan. We turn nobody away.
So I was hoping that one of your 3 tips would be Alignable, because Paul and I met through Alignable. We use it's like a hyper local LinkedIn. You made a comment when we first started recording how useful Alignable's been. We have met through Alignable. Tell us your take on Alignable.
So after a lot of deliberation and spinning wheels with Meta and this, that, the other, LinkedIn started becoming very, very pushy and over salesy. And I don't know how I got an invite. I think I was just doing some research and I found Alignable, and I knew that it was kind of a newer platform, but I saw the traction it was getting very rapidly. And so I threw my hat in the ring and I started building my network, and I went to our CEO and he goes, well, I have an Alignable account too. So we melded our Alignable accounts, and now we're working as a team through Alignable. What I love about it is the built-in accountability, because we're all tired of the hard sell. We want the handshake. We want the relationship. We want to be able to make Paul laugh at the end of a Friday and just have a gorgeous, that after our conversation, I had the best weekend because that weekend I was left with a great conversation with somebody that I met through Alignable. It is more personable, and the accountability built in. So you'll see somebody try to put in, a picture of their company and the hard sell, and then you'll have somebody immediately go, this is not the time or place for that, and our CEO even asked me yesterday, he goes, man, that post you has 52 comments. He said, you have a lot of work to do. I said, absolutely. That's connecting with your audience. At the same time, he goes, well, how would you possibly turn those into a potential client? And I said, what you do is you respectfully comment wholeheartedly on, and give them a true wholehearted answer. And then you bring them to the side and you message them directly and say, hey, I really loved your comment. I think you were really onto something there. Or, hey, we should talk about, the fact that you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, whatever the case may be, now you're opening the door for a communication and a relationship.
Right.
You don't do it through a group right there on blast. It's just tacky. It's old, it's early 2000s. We're all beyond over it. And, so that's what I love about Alignable, is that me being the personable person I am, and I will talk to anybody in any room, in any situation, I feel like I'm in that room in any situation, that I can kind of just look next to me and go, hey, oh my God, that's cool. I didn't know that was an industry. Tell me about it.
Right.
Because I love to learn. So,
right.
And who do you learn from best? Humans. I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, humans teach.
Paul's Alignable celebrity. He's Alignable royalty, is what I hear all the time. And I would agree with that. He came in under the top 25 business mentors. Paul came in as number 10, which was amazing. Number 10 in the country. Paul, what's your take on Alignable?
See, silence is golden. Well, first of all, my take on now this is why Chad is on here. See that? Chad, it's a shame. It really is a shame that Ed doesn't have any quality guests that he could bring to the podcast. It's a shame, but this is why Chad is here. So my take on Alignable, first of all, that's where I met Chad. I met Joseph who is going through a personal situation with his family. And I told him I would pray for him. And then he said, I'm going to have you meet my associate, Chad. So then Chad scheduled time with me on Alignable, and we met. And he did make Paul smile on Friday. And he made for a great weekend, which is also including my good friend, Ed Fox. Always makes a great weekend. And then our wives say, hey, when are you going to get off the computer? You guys have been on for 6 hours. How about, do you remember us? So Alignable is a much different platform than the other networking platforms or even referral-based program like BNI that Ed and I are very much involved with. Chad, it's okay. Chad, I know you were involved with BNI in the past. It's okay.
I'm going to need a warm blanket.
You need a warm blanket.
We triggered him.
It's a different platform. It's a platform that I am very grateful to be associated with. You meet incredible people on there, and you actually interact with people who really like our podcast, who really are interested in helping small businesses grow. I mean, that's what this podcast is about, whether it has 5 visitors or 5,000 visitors. It's really about caring about people and helping small business grow. And now we just got to hear who Chad really is. That's why I wanted Chad on here. The hell with my unlimited WB. No, not really. The hell with him. But Chad is the face of this company.
You know, I love that, Paul. That was very, very flattering. And
it's true.
You know, it is about being a person. You know, we're all behind a computer. We're all staring at our phones. We're all just completely immersed in the nonsense. And when you can meet somebody that you just totally hit it off with, I would love to say Paul is the only one on Alignable I've ever hit it off with, but that's just not true. That's just absolutely not true, because I have met some really, really amazing people through Alignable. I mean, just really heartfelt, funny. I don't know if anybody's ever been in Provisors, but you know, that's kind of a high-end BNI. But you know, this is the place where you can kind of create your own network marketing solution based on your industry, your likes, your personality. When you go to BNI, you're stuck in a room with a bunch of people that you don't know or could care less about at first, you know. But with Alignable, you can kind of create your own group, your own friendship base. And you know,
right, exactly. And for those of you not familiar with Alignable, there's 7 million users across USA and Canada. So Alignable and it's hyper local. I consider it a hyper local LinkedIn with very little pitching. Nobody sends you, very rarely do they send you a message. And like you said, Chad, if they do send you a message, there's somebody in the group or you message them back and say, hey, that's not how we do it here. Let's get to know each other first before you start pitching me and trying to sell me.
Let's keep that accountability. That I think that is so paramount to keeping Alignable pure, and not turning into what happened to LinkedIn.
Right. And we've been joined by Tony Honeycutt out of Nashville. And Tony and I are doing an episode of Nashville 2, which is a podcast that we'll start here in a minute. But Tony, thanks for joining us. Are you on Alignable by chance?
I am.
Okay. So there you go.
And Chad, as I interrupt again, Chad, you notice that Alignable is a virtual handshake.
It is a virtual handshake.
It really is. It's a virtual handshake.
I get a lot of people that don't know how to use Alignable correctly, or they've started an account and they haven't even uploaded their headshot down as the team member. And so you'll see a lot of them message you and it's just got their initials. They'll have a logo up, but they don't do enough to actually just fill out their profile. And so a lot of times Paul and I will spend time independently of each other helping people correct their Alignable setups.
So I'm going to put a shameless plug in on our own show. Well, it's not shameless. So if you're listening to this or watching this recording, it's probably too late. But tomorrow on our Hudson Valley Alliance, I'm actually doing a training at 6:30.
Are you recording?
I'm going to record it. There's 700 plus members in our alliance. I think I added Chad or invited Chad to be. So I've invited people outside of our Hudson Valley to be members. And tomorrow we're doing training on just this subject matter and how to utilize Alignable.
Love
Awesome.
it.
Cool. Chad, would you come back and do another episode with us so that we could dig into some more fun stuff and experiences you've had?
I would love to.
That'd be great.
Love to. I would be flattered. I really like the energy here.
Thank you. So let's see if we can finish with the three quick tips for a small business. You said grassroots.
Yep, grassroots. You beat me to the punch on the Alignable. Finding a network that works, that you're not just throwing something at the wall and hoping that somebody calls me or somebody saw my post that needs me, because you're a needle in a haystack out there, everybody. So go talk to actual people. Go where the conversation is. In marketing, that is also follows the grassroots. Go where the conversation is. So if your vertical is law, you need to be talking to other lawyers. You need to be talking to, judges. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. If you're
play one on TV,
if your vertical is marketing, you need to be talking to other graphic designers and other marketing firms. Don't look at somebody that does the same thing that you do as competition. Look at them as strengthening who you are and you strengthening them. Right. Because what happens there is you create Voltron, right? You got all these little pieces, but you put it together, you got this giant robo lion that's just unstoppable. That's really important to think about.
Awesome. Folks, there's going to be a lot of great information on episode 2 with Chad Miles from My Unlimited WP. And Chad, thanks for being on the show. I wish we had another hour.
Me too. I could talk to you guys all day. Paul knows that. I think we burned a good couple. We had to restart our Zoom a couple of times, didn't we?
You and I need to do a one-on-one as well. So I'll get that on the
Absolutely.
Connect.
Don't be stealing my friends. Don't be stealing my friends.
There's enough for me to go around.
And thank you, Chad, for being a guest today. Looking forward to part 2. We'll have all your information in the recording. And
let me go ahead and I got my new Miles Vision goggles.
And
second.
You got we need one more dad joke before we close out, and also we will let Tony know that Chad and I will be praying for him while he's on the show with Ed, because you're gonna need prayer.
I do have a really fun joke that I've been trying.
What was the new one? You just told me a new one yesterday. Oh, that was the corduroy pillow one.
Yeah, that was the corduroy pillow one. It's making headlines. Yes. So what's blue and not very heavy?
Shoot, not very heavy.
You're not going to get it.
You're not going to get it.
Light blue. And with that, I say adieu.
I was going to say a Twitter badge, but hey, what do I know?
There you go. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to drink to that.
Okay, we'll see you guys. Thanks. Well, that's it for this edition of the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul. Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate it. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube. Thanks a lot and have a great day.